Well, welcome to today's webinar using Church360 Unite with Shepherd Staff. This is an informational webinar about how these two great programs integrate with each other. My name is Peter Frank. I am the Senior Manager of Concordia Technology Solutions. You can see my face and my contact information there. My email address is peter.frank@cph.org. That's usually the best way to get a hold of me because I'm in and out of my office all day. But that is my office phone number below, the 268-1408 number, area code 314. You could also call our 800 number, and that'll get you in touch with our sales team, and they'll find me. They may have to just forward you to my voicemail, but one way or another, I'll get back to you. So please feel free to contact me after the fact with any questions that you might have. I always enjoy talking to people in the churches, hear how we're doing, hear how you're doing, and what kind of things we can do to help you out. A couple of housekeeping items as we get started. First off, this presentation will run about 45 minutes or so. I've got a number of things to cover. I could go in depth on a few things, but I also don't want to talk for too long before we get to the 15 minutes for questions and answers. So that'll wrap us up and get us to that 60-minute mark. I do ask that if you have a question, you ask it throughout. I won't be answering questions throughout, but that way you can ask it and kind of get it off your mind, get it into the queue for that question and answer time, and then you can ask it while you're thinking about it. There's a good chance that I may answer it in the presentation still, but even if that happens, I'll review those questions in the Q&A time and give that answer again. We are recording this webinar, and the recording will be shared after the fact. So if you have to step away for a second, or if you want to share it with somebody else in your congregation, you'll be able to do that. We'll post this on our YouTube channel, and I'll also send you out an email after the fact with a link to the video. So we find that that's very helpful. In fact, we had a number of people who said they couldn't make the webinar during this time, but they really wanted the recording. So we're happy to provide that, because we know that what you're doing in the church is more important than sitting and watching a webinar, but the webinar, hopefully the information will help you. So we don't want this to be the priority for you because other things are more important, but I do think that this will be valuable for you. All right, well, let's go ahead and talk about Church360 Unite a little bit. Now, I know some of you are already Church360 Unite customers, so this might be a little repetitive. Please bear with me. For those of you who aren't, this will be a good overview about how Church360 Unite fits into the whole scope of our product line. So Church360 Unite is our church website builder, and we'll get into the specifics in a second. Now, it is part of what we call the Church360 suite, and in that suite of products, there are two other products: Church360 Members, which is our online church management software, and Church360 Ledger, which is our church finance software. That is also online. However, Church360 Unite is kind of unique in that it can stand apart the other two products. So this webinar is about how Church360 Unite integrates with Shepherd Staff, and I know all of you are active Shepherd Staff customers. I only sent this webinar out to those who are Shepherd Staff customers. So to clarify things a little bit, Shepherd Staff is essentially equal to the combination of Members and Ledger. Now, you may have a version of Shepherd Staff that doesn't have the financial package to it, and if that's the case, then it's essentially just equal to Members. You do not have to have Church360 Members or Church360 Ledger to use Church360 Unite. That, like I said, it stands apart because Church360 Unite works with each of those two sides of the equation. And we know that many customers don't want to move their information online, and that's why we are continuing to maintain and update Shepherd Staff. In fact, we just started a very big project to kind of do a complete overhaul of Shepherd Staff with the code in the background, make it a little bit more modern and efficient, and that'll be going on over the next 2 years. So Shepherd Staff has a very long life. We are going to have these two great options because they serve two unique purposes. So Church360 Unite adds value to each side of the equation, and that's why we're going to talk about it today. So to give you a better idea of what Unite is, and we call it complete online communication. It's a church website builder, but it's more than just church websites. It's entire package of communication tools for it. So here's what I mean. You've got your website, blog, member hub, file sharing, calendar, mass email. All of these things could be purchased separately from different providers. I know some people use WordPress for their website, and Blogger for their blog, or maybe they're using WordPress for that as well. Many churches are using Facebook as the place for members to log in and interact with each other, which has some advantages but also some disadvantages, because it's mixed right with everything else and has ads. File sharing, whether you're using Box or any number of file sharing tools, there's a lot out there. Calendars, Google Calendar is probably the one we hear most commonly, and then mass email like MailChimp or Constant Contact. As you start adding all those things up, it can get a little bit complicated and sometimes expensive. There's some free options out there, but there's many paid options too. Well, we call it Church360 Unite because it combines all of those things. And it takes what's essential about each one and puts it all in one location. And so while things like mass email, you may be able to get better analytics from something like a MailChimp, it also ties directly to your member directly in Unite. And so you can do some of these things, the core functionality, all from one location. So, of course, as a church website builder, Church360 Unite is online, and you can access it from anywhere with an internet connection, which you would hope for a website. It has the secure hosting and backup. We take care of all of that for you. You don't have to get your own server, install anything. That's all done on our end. We back it up every night, and we keep those backups for 30 days. So we've never had an instance where we've had to pull an entire site, but there's a few things that we've had to do to help customers with those backups. And then there's free update support and training. And so we take care of all of these things for you so that you can focus on the things that you really do need to focus on in the church. So as we get into our presentation today, I have a few assumptions that I've made about you. That sounds kind of silly that I'm making assumptions about you, but first off, I'm assuming you're familiar with Shepherd Staff. I won't be training you how to use all of Shepherd Staff today, just the key parts of the integration. But on the same hand, I'm also assuming that you're new to Church360 Unite. So you may have no knowledge of it whatsoever, or you may be using it right now, but still fairly new to it. If you are a Church360 Unite expert and you're also very familiar with Shepherd Staff, you probably know a lot of these things, but hopefully I can give you a few nuggets of information that'll be helpful. Now, I'm also assuming that you're looking to empower members, and I say this because there's very few people in the church office I've spoken to that don't want to enlist the help of volunteers. Most churches will have a number of people who are ready and willing to help. Some will have more than that, some will only have one or two. But either way, I know that most people in the church office are always looking for things that they can delegate and share, because there's never an end to the amount of things that go on in the office. So hopefully you're looking to empower your members to assist in some of these tasks. So my goals for today's webinar, and this kind of works as our outline. First, I want to share share with you the shared data between Unite and Shepherd Staff so that you can understand what exactly goes back and forth between the two programs. I'll show you how to set up the integration. This is a one-time thing for your church, but sometimes it's the most difficult thing to figure out, so I'll walk you through that. You'll be able to see where that data is used in Church360 Unite. One of the key benefits of Shepherd Staff is that all of the data is stored on your servers at your church. You control where that information goes. And so I want to be careful to show exactly where people are seeing this information on your website. It is not going to be in the public eye, but I'll show you how members can see this information and nowhere else. So we'll look through that. In conjunction with that, I'll help you learn how user permissions work, because we are very careful that only the right people see the right information, that it's not going outside who should see that. And lastly, I'll show you how the updates work from both directions, and so how you can share those updates from Unite with Shepherd Staff and vice versa. All right, let's see. Here we go. Let's get started. There's my Let's Get Started screen slowly coming up. All right, the data that is shared from Shepherd Staff, and Shepherd Staff is the source of all this data. You manage your membership information from Shepherd Staff and you push it out to Unite, and then that can be updated and shared. It really revolves around individuals, and so things like title, first, middle, last name, suffix, preferred name, whether or not they're a member or non-member, I'll show how that applies. But also, almost most importantly, is their email address and phone numbers. Those are the things that the church office really needs to have as updated as possible. As an elder at my congregation, I can tell you how frustrating it is when you're trying to reach out to somebody who hasn't attended in a while and you get a bad phone number and there's no additional contact information. Short of going to their house, which is a little bit unexpected in most cases, there's really no way to contact them without that information. So keeping that maintained as much as possible is key. And then also the household information. And this is one of the key benefits of using something like Shepherd Staff with Unite, is that you can have these households tied together. Unite by itself does not have that concept of households because that's very much a church management sort of thing. And so by adding Shepherd Staff to it, you have all of these additional connection points, which is really valuable at the church level. So the household name, the family name, address, city, state, zip, standard information, as well as email addresses and phone numbers and the members of those households. So that's what gets shared. We've talked about adding additional things. The way that things like calendars in Unite work is quite different than events in Shepherd Staff, and so we haven't synced that yet. But as this integration is fairly new, we would love to get your feedback as you begin to use it to say, what else would you like to be shared? Because we can always expand on the connections. There's work involved in that, and so we try very hard not to use work, to spend time and energy on things that people won't use. But if there's something that you see that's useful to us, please let us know. All right, well, let's talk about how you can go about setting up that integration. So the first step you'll do is go into Church360 Unite, and I've got this on the screen here. I'm going to jump into the application and do these steps, and then I'll swing back around to these steps so that you can hear it again. All right, so let me go to my browser, and this is my new site. It's a blank slate. I just opened this up last night, and you can start this trial on your own. If you haven't started Church360 Unite yet, go to 360unite.com, and then you can start your free trial on that main screen, and just fill out this information here, and you'll get an email where you can get started. If you'd like to follow along today, if you've already started Unite, you probably already have a login and are ready to go. But if you'd like to get started, just go ahead and start that free trial here. Zoom in a little bit. It's very easy to do, and you can get started with that 30-day free trial and see how this integration works. So this is one of our templates. I'll get into that in a little bit later, but this up here at the top, this is our administrator bar, this black bar. And the first step is to go into settings, and you'll see we've got some of my information in there. Under settings on the left-hand side, and let me go ahead and zoom in just so you can see that a little bit better. There's a link that says integration, and that's what you'll want to click, and this is all about integrating Staff. So we've got these instructions here that you can read through. They're a little bit more detailed than mine in the PowerPoint, but the key thing here is that you want to know where your token and your subdomain are. This is kind of a two-step verification process to make sure that that everything is secure, that you are accessing only your database, your Church360 Unite site. The subdomain is readily available up here in your URL, and so that's why we add this additional thing, a token. It's a GUID, which means that it's completely unique. That'll keep that security in place. So you have to have access to Church360 Unite to link that data in, because again, we're all about keeping your information safe and secure. So if I go over here to Shepherd Staff, the screen should look familiar to all of you, and I click on Membership, which will take me here. I'm already opened. I've got all of my my regular screens here, which I'm sure you're familiar with. I'll close these so that it's not distracting. Up here under Tools, there is a link called Church360 Unite. And so you click on that link and it'll give you your synchronized Shepherd Staff with Church360 Unite dialog box. So the synchronize is once you get the setup, but under here in settings you'll see a few fields. First is the Church360 Unite account token and then the subdomain. Those two things that we were looking at before. So I'm going to go ahead and switch back to my screen here, and we're going to copy and paste these in. So this should be highlighted. If it's not, you can double click on it, right click and copy, and then we'll switch back to Shepherd Staff, and you'll click this edit button next to the icon there, and then you can paste it in. I did Control V. You can also right click and paste, and we'll hit save. We'll do the same thing with the subdomain. So select all of that, right click and copy. Go back here, click the edit, paste it, and save. And there you go. It's almost completely synced. It's not too difficult. The next thing is to send that information in. Before we do that, let me go back here to the PowerPoint, just review those steps that we took. All right, so let me get that screen. So, as a refresher, in Church360 Unite, log in as an administrator. I don't know if I said that before. That's very important. Administrators will have access to that bar at the top and have access to settings. So if you're just a regular user, you can't do that. So if you're not the administrator for your Church360 Unite account, you will have to talk with that person. Then you'll go to Settings and Integration. And under Token, you can double click to select, and you can copy that from there. Same thing under Subdomain. So from there in Shepherd Staff, you want to open Membership, go to Tools, Church360 Unite. I forgot to add that thing in here that you'll click on the Settings tab. Right there on the right-hand side. It'll default to Synchronize, so you want to go to Settings. And then under the account token, click Edit, and then paste the account token. You also click Save. Now as I say these out loud, I realize the steps that I missed, but hopefully that's self-explanatory. Then do the same thing under Subdomain. So those two steps are separate. Click under account token, click Edit and Paste, then go back, copy your subdomain, and paste it under the subdomain field. All right, the next step is your first sync. And you'll want to prepare all your appropriate users by marking them as checked under Unite in the people grid. What do I mean by that? Let's go take a look. We'll come back to the screen in a second. Let me close out of that and go here to people. Now there's a few different ways that you can do this. Over on the very far right, there's a field called Unite. In Shepherd Staff, you can choose exactly what member information gets sent to Unite. I should clarify that. What people information. You don't have to send all your members. You could also send non-members. That's going to be up to you at the congregation level, what information you want to share. And you may not know that right now, but after you see how it's used, you may get a better idea. So right now, everyone in this database, just about everyone, here's some people, the Kester family has not marked as sync. Just about everyone else is marked as sync. Let's give an example here of where you go. So here is the profile view for David Abbott, and you can see the contact information that is shared there. There's some personal information. That information does not flow out, and neither does the work in school. But here under Other, you'll see this checkbox that says Show this person in Church360 Unite. And you can see the history of the changes for that person. You can go ahead and sync this person in Unite from here. Those are one-off things. We're going to look at it in mass in just a moment. But if you go to the Other tab, that's where you'll go to show this person Church360 Unite. You can also just click the unlock, and that'll unlock this grid here. You can go back and you can choose to exclude people just by clicking in the checkbox, and then you can lock that grid again. Now there's another way that you can do this, and this just depends on, again, who you want to send. If you go up to Utilities and then go to Mass Update Utilities and go to the Mass Update one there on the bottom, it'll ask you if you've made a backup. Yes, you've made a backup. Oops, and this goes off onto the screen. Let me bring that back into view. There we go. So you can say update all, or you can update a subgroup of people. We'll click under person so that we can know that we can pick a subgroup. And this goes off to that screen, pardon that. So the subgroup, you can go in here. Oh my goodness, that's on the other screen as well. This is the problem with having 3 different monitors. Let me go ahead and just select the non-member subgroup. So I'm saying we're going to show all non-members, or we're going to update the non-member subgroup, and you'll see that name changes here. And under what, you can go down and choose Show in Church360 Unite. And what I'll say is replace the yes with a no for all non-members. We'll go ahead and update that. And it's just confirming that I want to do that. I'll click yes. 40 records have been updated. So that tells me that all 40 non-members that are in our database will no longer sync with Unite. And that's just an example. You can use any subgroup however you want to do that. So let's go back to the people grid, and I'll scroll all the way to the right. And now you can see that we've got some more blanks here. So that's probably a little bit small on your screen, but you can see here the Ericksons who are not members, they are no longer checked. And Kelly Foreman's not checked. Samuel Garofalo is not checked. They will no longer sync with Church360 Unite because I've marked them as no. So that's how you exclude people. You can also do one-offs like I showed before. However you want to do that, that is up for your church to decide. Let me show you one other thing. I'm going to close out of membership, and that's going to take me back to the screen. And the information here, oops, I didn't mean to click on that. Let me go back. Prepare all appropriate users, use the mass update if needed, where is person, what is show, and Church360 Unite. Now this next step, look for the Church360 Unite logo. After you've set up that connection, when you go back into membership, and let me bring this over here, you're going to get a new icon at the top. Here's all my things at the screen, but if you look right over here in the top center, you've now got this Unite logo. And that gives you quick access to that synchronize with Shepherd staff with Church360 Unite, which is really great. All right, we're going to go here under settings, and you've got 2 sync options. It'll default to just the people with data changes, but for this first time, you're going to want to send everyone who appears in Church360 Unite. And we're going to go ahead and start that process. This first time that you do that, it will take a few moments. Now you can see here that we've got that little countdown that says sending 9 of 194. This is going to take a second, so while we do that, let's go back to the PowerPoint. Again, that's the first time. You can do that at any time, but it is going to take this much time, and so there's really no point, because what you'll do in the future is just sync those with changes. All right, so again, you prepare the user's mass update. We covered that. Look for the Church360 Unite logo. The first time you do this, send everyone who appears in Church360 Unite. Then in the future, just send those people with data changes so that it goes a little bit quicker for you. And then you click the sync button. All right. After that, let me talk about this a little bit while that's still updating. So the data that you'll see in Unite, there's a few things to know. Non-members will be imported, but not listed. And non-members will only be imported if you have them marked checked as show in Church360 Unite. New people will not sync, meaning new people in Church360 Unite will not sync. People can only be created in Shepherd staff. And what that means in a second, but that's something to keep in mind, that people should always be added in Shepherd staff because that is the main source of your data. And then when you list members, it'll cause them to appear in the member directory. Now, members can choose to remove themselves from the member directory. And we'll look at each of these 3 areas in just a second. So let's go back here to members. We're down to about 60 or so left. So we'll go back and jump into Unite right now because that's just about ready to go. Alright, so here is our settings screen. To close out of that, up in the top right there's a little X, and you can just click that X and it'll take you back here. Now, up here under users is where you will go to see all the people in your database, and as they're synced they'll begin to appear. We're just about there with our list. In fact, it's probably already done. Alright, we've got about 10 more to go. After that's done, what I'm going to do is I'm going to refresh it, because as it's being updated, the server is being updated with all your information. There we go. Finish set changes for 194 people. Received no changes back. Of course not. They're all new. So that wasn't too bad. That was only a couple minutes. I'm going to X out of this, and I'm going to do a refresh, because a refresh on that screen will pull the information from the database again, and now we'll get all of our users. So if we go click users, you'll see everybody is listed here. So it says listing everyone from your Shepherd staff account. That means everyone that you want to be seen in here will be seen. Now the information that comes across on this screen shows their name, their email address or email addresses if there's multiple, and then whether they're listed or not. And in this case, they're all listed because they're all people who are members, so they're automatically listed. What exactly does that mean? Let me close out of users, and we'll go to members here. Members is a unique page that is created by Church360 Unite. This is your member directory, and only people who have been imported in or created in Unite and marked as listed will appear here. Now with this sync with Shepherd staff, they appear here under households. So here's our first household, the Abbott household. Click on Abbott's name, and you can see there are their contact information, their phone number. There's no email addresses for the household, although there are for individuals. And we'll click on Dave, and you can see his information there if there's personal email and work address. We'll talk about groups in a little bit, but here's one thing that's important. Not a Church360 Unite user. You will invite users in a moment, but what a Church360 Unite user is somebody who can actually log into your site. Without Shepherd staff, you won't be able to invite or add people. I guess you can add people without inviting them to users, but you have to add each one individually, and that's a lot of work just to get them to appear in the directory. What this means, though, is that when you sync with Shepherd staff, there's still one more step before you invite them to log into your site, and that's back here under users. So as we go to users, you can click on somebody to invite them. So we'll just use Dave Abbott as an example. When you click on change role, now that gives you your permission settings, and we'll talk about these. Actually, I think that is our next thing. We'll go ahead and talk about that right now, and we'll review that information from the PowerPoint in a moment. So none means they can't log into Unite. So they're all set to none by default. User means that they can log into Unite and see different things. They can view private pages, so pages that you don't want the public to see. So that may contain names. I always point to an example as the acolyte schedule. If you have acolytes at your congregation, they're generally youth, and you want their parents to know when they're serving so that the parents can remind them to get ready for church on time. But you don't want that on your church website because that's youth information. Their names should not be listed publicly, but it needs to have a place where the members can see that. And so putting the acolyte schedule as a private page is a great example of where you want something for your members but not the public to see. So a user can log in and see that. You also have to be a user to see the church directory. There's no way of changing that. You cannot mark the member directory as public even by accident. We just don't allow it. So you have to be a user to log in and see that. What that means is that it's an invitation-only sort of system. You cannot have people who opt in on their own and start viewing this private information. You at the church office need to give people access, and that's by inviting them to be a user. If they're a user, they can also update their own personal information and household information, which we'll show in a minute. And they can also participate in groups, which is a unique feature of Unite where members can interact with each other. Now, Unite does have two other roles. There is the publisher role, which means you can edit content. You can add or create pages, add or remove pages, including things within the navigation. You can edit the content of those pages, unless it's a group that you're not a part of. And that'll make more sense in a little bit. And they also have all the same access that a user has. They just go that one step further. And then administrator takes everything a user has, everything a publisher has, and adds on the ability to manage the settings, manage the theme, manage the users. And so all of that is under the administrator. And there is a limit to how many administrators you can have, and that depends on your plan with Unite, which we'll talk about near the end. But for the most part, you'll want to invite all of your members as users. Now, you do have to have an email address to be invited, and so I'll close out of this and show you that you can sort by email address and then begin to select multiple people, and you can then change their role. I'll just do a few for right now, and change the role of David Abbott and 9 others to user, and so you can mass invite everybody at once. Now, what I would recommend is as you're rolling this out to your congregation, you give them a heads up about it maybe the Sunday before you invite everyone, because otherwise they're going to get an invitation immediately in their email that they have no idea what to do with it, and they'll probably ignore it, which is not what you want. So make sure you talk about that, and then we do have a video on our YouTube channel that you can share with them that tells them why you're inviting them. But that's a good first step. All right, so let me go ahead and review that. We'll go back to the PowerPoint. So we talked about this in terms of users show up and member directories. We'll look at that in a little bit more detail as we go to edit information, and same with the profiles. But in terms of user permissions, users can view private pages, including the member directory and also the calendar. And we'll look at the calendar in a moment as well. The calendar can be public, but you can have certain events be listed only for users. Update personal and household profiles and participate or lead groups. All of that can be done at the user role. There's an unlimited number of users. Publishers can do everything a user can do. They can add or remove pages as well, including things within the navigation, and they can edit the content on all those pages. So publishers are the sum of users' roles as well as those additional things, and then administrators can do everything the other two can do, as well as manage the themes and the settings. So just a quick review. All right, let's dig into some of those details and make some changes. All right, we will close out of users, and we are logged in. I am an administrator, so as an administrator, I can edit Dave Abbott's profile. He can also edit it if he logs in. He can also edit his household information and the members of his household as well. So if we go in here, here is Dave Abbott. You've got his title. Maybe, for example, we'll say that Dave is actually a doctor. And maybe his preferred name is actually David and not Dave. Maybe his email address is actually typed in here wrong, and he says, no, I'm sorry, my email is actually D Abbott, not Abbott D. And maybe he doesn't want his work email address listed. So the listed information comes over as well. And you can see there's his phone number. We'll just change that to a 3 as well, just so we're making some changes. And again, maybe we'll mark his cell phone as unlisted. He doesn't want everybody to know his cell phone number, but he wants the church office to. And we'll go ahead and update that profile. All right, changes saved. Let's go back to the household. You can click on the name Abbott Household to go into there. All right, there is his household. We can go and edit the household. Permanent address, Franklin Lane. We'll just go and change that to 4. And there's their household phone number, and maybe it's something like abbottfamily@mail.com. And you can see here, here's the household order. We'll put Sue up here above Lacey because she's the mother, and change that household order. And we'll update the household. And you can see that order has rearranged there. So those are just a few simple changes. Let's go back into Shepherd Staff and see how that works. So In our settings, we'll go ahead and say just send the people with data changes recommended. And we'll go ahead here and click synchronize. And you'll see that it's much quicker now because we did not send everybody back and forth. Now here's the nice thing about this sync with Shepherd staff. While members can change any information they want, you at the church office do need to approve those changes. And they're automatically marked as checked here so you can accept them. But you can go through and review, okay, Dave changed his title. Well, if he wants to have doctors as title, we'll leave it at that. His preferred name, his cell phone, we changed that and changed the formatting in there as well. Household email address, personal email address, and then the household email applies to every member in the household too. So we'll go ahead and just accept these changes, and I'll give you one more thing. And actually, you can review these changes finished. There we go. That's all marked as updated. And under settings, we can view that history of changes. Now I checked a few things, so actually not everything came across. And there you go. So there is the information that has been changed for Dave and the household. And when we go and click synchronize again, we have confirmed that. So those are all set in place. Now let's go the other way. Let's go close this out, and we'll go in here and we'll quick add a person. All right, and we're going to add Aaron Hudson. And he is a male. We're just going to put this in here. I've already got some information populated. So we'll put address in here, St. Louis, Missouri, and 63123. And his phone number of 314-958-6545. And his very generic email of aaron.training@cpheptest.com. And we'll click OK. We'll say, no, we don't want to add another visitor. Now let's go back to that people view, and we'll go and find Aaron. There we go, Aaron Hudson. And we'll go over here to other. Now, because he's a visitor, he's not automatically marked as show this person in Church360 Unite. So we'll go ahead and click show. And we'll go ahead here and click sync. And you can view the history of changes. Oops, there are no history yet. So that person has been synced. And we'll close this. Say yes, we want to save those changes and exit out here. Let's go back up here into users, and we may have to refresh. Yeah, we're going to have to refresh real quick. All right, and he should appear. Whoops. Why is he not appearing? I think I do have to go and click synchronize here. There we go, send changes for one person. I forgot that checkbox was just a quick add to mark him as synced. All right, now we can go here and do a refresh, and he should show up. There we go. So now Aaron is in there, and we can invite him as a user, except he doesn't have an email address. I thought I entered that in, but maybe I didn't save that change. All right, we'll go ahead and update that, and now Aaron has been invited. Let's show you a little bit about the pages real quick. We've got about 7 minutes left. Oh, I do want to show under activity. Under activity, there is an event log, and you can see here that all of these changes I made, and so if you don't want to sync regularly, if you don't have a lot of changes, you can just kind of monitor this and see when those changes are and say, oh, it's about time we sync with Shepherd staff. But it'll show exactly who has done it. Now, if it's coming over from Shepherd staff, it's going to put that as unknown because we don't share the Shepherd staff user information in there. But at least you'll see that that has been updated. All right, under here, under pages, we only have 3 pages right now. You can see that members is members only. It's really easy to add pages that are just meant for people with access to that page. So only people who can log in. So let's go here. We add a page in the top right corner, and this will tell you some helpful information. What to expect. Probably not the best one. I'll just go ahead and add a blank page. We'll use that same example of an acolyte schedule. Maybe not the first page you want to add to your website, but for demonstration purposes, it'll work. Oops. We'll go ahead and add that into the navigation. You'll see it starts off as a draft. We'll go ahead and publish that. It also starts off as members only. Now you can make it public by clicking public here. We're going to keep that as private and save changes. And so now when we close out of pages, you'll see acolyte schedules there. I'm logged in so I can see it. But as I'm logged in, it'll say members only. So as your members are logged in, they can see that it's only available to them. And it'll give them that extra level of comfort. If they see their name and email address on there and say, oh no, that's not supposed to be on the website, you can point them to this that says members only. Only people who can log in can see that. Let's show another type of page. If you go here to add page, here's a group page. We'll add this group, and we'll call this the Board of Elders. Now the Board of Elders has a different icon because it is a group page, and that is going to be members only. So we'll save those pages, or save those changes, and then we'll click on the group. Oops. Go ahead and continue to that. There we go. So this is a group page. And we call this like a site within a site, so that you can go ahead and have this separate environment for your Board of Elders or any group to participate in that is within the comfort of your website and limited to those people that you invite. We'll go here to members and I'll show you. I created it, so I'm automatically the group leader. We can add other members, so anyone who has been invited. So in this case, Aaron Hudson is the only person we've actually invited. I didn't actually invite all those others before because of the number of email addresses we had in there. But I didn't want to send out a bunch of blank emails and spam all those fake addresses. So here under Aaron Hudson, he's a member. I can either add him automatically or invite him, see if he wants to join. We're going to go ahead and add him. And so now the members of this group can participate in things like discussions. And I can put a comment on there. I can mark a prayer request. I can do an announcement. Announcements can be pushed out in email to the members of the group. Under Edit This Group, I can go and add additional pages. And so if we want to put something like meeting minutes and add that in, and I can add that to the navigation here, and then that'll be a new page. Let's go ahead and update that group. So now meeting minutes is a page that I can go in and edit, and editing the page is just as simple as clicking edit page. And now I can type in here and say, minutes for August 16th, 2016, and I can add a link to a PDF. All of that is covered in our other Unite trainings. This is just an example to show how you might use that. We'll hit Save Pages. When I go back to edit this group, now that I've refreshed by saving it, you'll see here that I have different levels of permission for each page. So I can set everything as just Unite users, but maybe I want to bring that over to the meeting minutes to only group members. And maybe the events and discussion are also only group members. You can even go so far as to say, well, the meeting minutes should only be seen by the group leaders. We don't need to share that with everybody. That seems a little impractical for minutes, but that option is available. You could also have the public-facing page. So maybe your home page is available to everybody. You only want your members to see who's logged in, who's the actual member, and then the rest of it's for group members. So you can set those different permission levels down to the very page. You can update that group. Those are just a few of the things that would be useful to your members as they log in with groups. The calendar is also available to you. And oops, let's go here. There we go. And we don't have any events right now, but this drop-down shows different options. Because I'm a member of the Board of Elders, I can see the calendar here. But I can go up under settings, and there's a number of other calendars that I could add. So I could put worship calendar and say worship is available to everyone, but maybe the fellowship is only available to users. I'll save those. and put that there. There's a few other system calendars that come into there, and that's tied in with our integration with Church360 members as well, where more of this information is flowed over. So then when we go back to the calendar and refresh, you can see a different combination of events here if we had events on the calendar, which I was going to add, but we're already running out of time, so I won't do that today. But each user gets kind of their own unique selection of calendars based on who they are, what groups they've participated in, and the like. So those are just a few of those things. We are at about 1:45, and I've noticed some questions coming across. So I wanted to get into those questions. And if there's something in particular you want to see in more detail, I'd be happy to show that in our time that we have left. Let me switch back to the PowerPoint. So that's the permissions. I'll show this again. If you're ready to start a free 30-day trial, if you haven't already begun using Unite, you can do so today at 360unite.com. There is a special promotion going on for new users through the end of August, where we'll waive the $199 startup fee. So if this is something you're close to doing, I would say go ahead and pull that trigger before the end of the month. These specials don't come around very often. So that's by the end of the month. And then let me put my information up here on the screen as well. So software sales, they can get you started as well. But there's my contact information again, and that toll-free number is down below is what I shared before. But let me go ahead and dig into some of the questions because I want to make sure to answer those. So if you have more, please share them at this time. Okay, let's see. Kim, you're asking, can non-members be added to 360? For example, your midweek reports. I'm not sure in terms of midweek reports what you mean. You may be able to give me a little bit more information. But yes, non-members can be added, and that just goes back into the into Shepherd staff. Let me go back in here. I'll close out of this. Close out a few of these just to remove some distractions. But that goes down to that Unite checkbox. So whoever is checked will be shared with Unite. And then by default, non-members are not listed in the directory. And in fact, that's something I meant to show in more detail, and I didn't. So under users, everyone who is a user or a member by default is marked as listed. And so you can see here, then we can, as we go into the profiles, let's go to members, just go to Dave. If Dave chooses to not be listed in the directory, he can exclude himself from that. So there is his update profile. Let me go here under my profile, because that only shows up when you're logged in. There's member directory. I would like to be seen in the membership directory. If I want to remove myself from that, the church office cannot force it back to be seen. This is the only thing that the member has control of that the rest of the church office staff does not. They can remove themselves from the church directory, and then their information is not visible. But by default, to go back to your question, non-members would not be seen. Okay, suggestion. Marilyn has a great suggestion in here. Let me go to users and then I'll read her note. She says, update as many emails as possible before adding users. It is a real hassle to change the system email after the fact. Yes, after you have invited a user. So you'll see here that Dave has a couple of different email addresses here. When you go and invite him, it'll send it to both those email addresses, and when he accepts the invitation, he can choose what email address to use. Now, after he accepts the invitation and chooses the email, he's the one who controls his user login information, not the church office, and that's because of password verification going to that email. But that is a very good point, Marilyn, that you'll want to get that set up as best as possible before inviting. That way you can choose where it goes to invite him, and that you have the most up-to-date information. Now, regardless of what email is used for the user login, the church office as well as the individual can update the email addresses that are seen. It's just a matter on the login information. All right, Diane has a couple questions related to Macs. She asks, can a person use a Mac who uses a Mac computer use this program? For Unite, absolutely, because it's web-based. And then her follow-up question is, will Shepherd Staff ever be compatible with a Mac computer? There are no plans at this time to convert Shepherd Staff to Macs because it's very much built on a PC platform, and most of our Mac users who have requested a Mac program find that Church360 members is sufficient for that because it is available online and can be accessed by any connection with internet, any device with an internet connection. There we go. In fact, our programmers who have built out Church360 all use Macs, so it works great for them. And that is our alternative for Macs. Now, with Shepherd Staff, you can run that on a parallel system, and I don't know all the details on that, but our support team does, and they can help you get up and running. It's not necessarily as ideal as a native Mac program, but it will work for your purposes. And then, of course, for Unite, that allows anyone to update their information regardless of their platform. Kim asked the question, are birthdays and anniversaries available to be seen on the calendar now? Can they sync from Shepherd Staff to 360? Right now, we do not have that, but that's one of the things that we're considering. We will have to build in an additional level of security on that. And so we'd love to get your feedback on that. Who should be able to see that? What kind of permission levels? So if you've got ideas on that, please go ahead and send them our way. You've got our email address within Shepherd Staff. It's also here in Unite. You can go and send us a message right here. And just let us know your thoughts on how you'd like to use that, who you'd like to be able to see. Is it information that's just available to all users or certain users? We'll try not to complicate it too much with too many permission levels. But we know as soon as we start adding in things like dates, there's some specific things that you don't want to share. So that is one of the ideas that we had. So Melinda asks, she stepped out for a second, but how can we access Church360 if you're using Shepherd Staff, which is not online based? Well, that goes back to the steps, and I know you stepped out for a second, so you probably did miss that spot where we talked about how to integrate under the settings. What the Shepherd Staff allows you to do is choose when you send that information online. And so the sync with Shepherd Staff is really just an as it's syncing connection. It's not a live connection that always updates, but when you hit the sync button, it pushes it to the to our servers online. Now, if you have Shepherd Staff on a computer that is not connected to the internet, it will not work. And I should have mentioned that at the beginning. We find that most of our churches who use Shepherd Staff still do have an internet connection. They just don't want their data stored online. And in this case, the only data that is stored online, not sensitive information like offerings, it's just this contact information. So it's a 1 second push. Okay, so I hope that answers that question. Valerie asks, need more info about website. Can it replace our current website? The answer to that is yes. It is a church website builder, and I showed a few of those features after you asked that question, or around the time you asked that question. But I will point you back to our website. Under Church360 Unite, you can go to Training, and you can see, yep, this is our one today, that's full. You can see next week on Thursday, we have a complete overview webinar of Church360 Unite, and that goes into more details on how Unite can be used as your website. Kind of outside the scope of the discussion for today, but there's a lot of great tools that you can use in that. And that one's 90 minutes, it's about 60 minutes presentation, 30 minutes question and answers. If you'd like more information on Unite, that is a great starting point. And then in September, we've got a series of webinars about very specific things within Church360 Unite. So we've got those 6 webinars. They're each half an hour long, but those will go into those very specific features of Unite that'll help you use it as your main church website. Now, you can use Unite as strictly just an online members portal. So if you like your website, if it works just fine you do want a place for members to log in and see the directory, you can do that with Unite. And then you just limit what pages you have in here. We've got a number of churches who do that and find it very helpful. We can also help you customize your theme to make it look more like your website, but it can be kind of the back end side of things for your members where not everybody sees it. So I hope that helps explain that. Kim followed up with her question. She said the midweek reports page is only open to members to see their children's report. We have a member from another church coming to our midweek classes. Should I enter in shepherd staff or in users where it says add people to in 360? That's a great question. The answer is you can do either one. But Kim, I would recommend adding them to shepherd staff so you have their contact information there. Using shepherd staff as that source of all your people information is really a best practice, so that you don't have some people in Unite but not shepherd staff, but you can always go in here and see it, and you can mark them as a non-member and choose to sync them with Unite. So that's what I would recommend for your situation, and then they'll be able to see that page. You could also make that page a group so that only the people who are involved in the midweek classes can see that information. That's what I would suggest. Okay, I've got 3 questions right in a row about pricing. So currently a shepherd staff user, what's the annual cost? Are there fees besides the startup fee? And then also need to know about pricing. Joy, Ruth, Valerie, let's dig into that. So we will go back to 360unite.com and you can go to the pricing tab and you can see there's a few checkboxes at the top. So if you are a 360 members customer or a shepherd staff customer, and this webinar was only for supported shepherd staff customers, so I'm going to go ahead and check that box. You'll save $10 a month, and that adds up quickly. It's $10 a month with the standard and advanced, actually $20 a month with the premium. And then if you pay annually, there's an additional 10% savings. And so the difference between those plans are subtle. With every plan, you get all the different customizations. I know that some providers will limit you to how many times you can change your site. We don't do that. Free support, unlimited pages. There's a custom domain that comes with the advanced and premium. And that means that we manage your actual domain name. So every user of Unite gets something like this, where it's subdomain.360unite.com. Now, the domain itself, that's our domain is 360unite.com. You may have yourchurch.org, whatever that is. That could be included with advanced or premium, although you can also do that on your own and use that with standard. So that's not excluding that, that's just saying you'll manage your domain there. Premium has the added advantage of 10 email addresses with your domain, so it'd be like pastor@yourdomain.org. We find that many churches already have that set up, and there's an additional expense, but we include that with the premium because not many people take advantage of that. Administrators is limited, so it goes from 2 to 6 to unlimited administrators. We find that for smaller churches especially, 2 is more than enough. For mid-sized to large churches, 6 is usually more than enough, but if you want to have unlimited, that's what premium is. Same with storage. We offer 2 gigabytes of storage for standard, 10 for advanced, unlimited for premium. Most of our users find that 2 gigs is more than sufficient. If you're putting media up there, then you may want to bump it up to the advanced 10 gigabytes, or if you're doing a lot of media, then go with the unlimited. But those plans then are either on an annual or monthly basis. Annual, the standard plan is $205 a year. Advanced is $421.20. You can see if you pay monthly, that works. You'll pay $19 a month or $30 a month, depending on your plan. So that's your pricing for those. Hopefully that is pretty clear. We try to give those additional breaks to our current shepherd staff users because you're valued customers, and we'd like to make it as easy as possible for you to add this as your website. All right. Cortez has the question, does shepherd staff share financial data with Unite? And that answer is no. It is only membership information that is shared with Unite. So your financial information, all of that stays within shepherd staff, stored right here on your servers to keep it private. And there really isn't a lot of information, financial information that you'll want shared automatically. But if you want to share reports, you can do that, export them to a PDF, upload them to a private page or group. You can still do all that, but there's no automatic sync. So Yolanda asks, how can members access their information if I'm using Shepherd Staff, which is not online? That's that sync. So because Unite is online, anyone who has access to the internet and has been invited can log in and view just their contact information there. If you have any more questions about that, you can review the recording that goes into it in a little bit more detail. I may have gone a little bit too fast. Let's see. In Unite, how might you get multiples of the same name? Does this happen due to Shepherd Staff, or can it be fixed in one of the other programs? Amy asked that question. Amy, that could happen if you invite users to Unite rather than syncing with Shepherd Staff first. If you have that, I would suggest talking with our support team. They can look at it and see the specifics. That often happens when Unite is used first and then Shepherd Staff, but our support team can help you with that. If you haven't already talked to them, on our website up at the top there's a support button, and that'll give you that contact information right there. There's a number of things that could have occurred, but that by far and away is the most likely thing. And our team can help you remove those duplicates safely. You also have the ability to delete users from Unite. You'll just want to make sure that they are the right people. So to delete somebody, you click the checkbox and click delete. It's best if they haven't logged in, but I think that's a unique situation that should be talked about offline. All right, now I get the follow-up from you, Linda, so I think I answered your question good. Lynn asks, is there any ability to edit financial information here also regarding contributions? And that is not optional right now. We don't provide any financial information. And really that's because those who use Shepherd Staff really want to keep their data stored on their own servers, keep it private. If you'd like to share contributions information with your members, there's a way to do that with Church360 members, one of our online product that does the same thing. You can also, in either Shepherd Staff or Church360 members, email that. But that kind of information is best shared when the church office is ready to share it. So we don't have any kind of automatic update on that. Kim Cornett says you can share my information with whoever you want if they have questions who use it. I do love it. Thank you, Kim. I really appreciate that. You're one of our biggest advocates, and we always appreciate your kind words. I won't share your contact information live since this is recorded, but if anybody would like to talk with Kim, please send me a note, and I'll forward that on, and she'll be happy to share how much she loves Unite. We had a great conversation at our convention recently, and she's just had a ball with it. So thank you again, Kim, for your advocacy. Let's see, Tara asks, I'm sorry, but I joined late. Has this been recorded so I can watch from the beginning? Yes, we'll be sending that to you in just a little bit. And Frank asks about the same thing. When you send out the link to this webinar, can you also provide us the link to the YouTube video you mentioned for introducing members to Unite? Frank, I can share that with you right now. And I'll share that with you separately. Rather than confuse everybody by having two links in there, let me go to our YouTube channel. So if you go to our YouTube channel, just go to YouTube, search for, oops, there's our music playing, Concordia Technology Solutions. You'll see that was just last week using Church360 Unite with Church360 members. And that'll share that information for you too. Yolanda asked, will the slides of the webinar also be available? I can do that. I'll make that available for you as well. All right, I think Mark just sent a separate question. I'll answer you separately, Mark. I'll send you an email back because we are out of time. Let me go back here to my contact information. If you have any more questions, those are some great questions. We filled up our Q&A time, so thank you for that. Please send any additional ones to me via email, and those that came in at the end here, I will address those individually. But thank you again for attending. Have a great day.